everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome today to Life Enhancement and Development Live. We are so glad that you're here with us today. I'm Cassandra Washington, the CEO of Life Enhancement and Development, and I'm also your host today. And I have with me my special guest for this month, talking about our transformation series to manifest your vision. I have with me today transformation coach Bernadette Hicks-Kelly. She is the CEO of Effective Transformation Coaching. And I just want to take the moment to welcome Bernadette and allow her to greet everyone. How you doing, lady?
I am doing awesome. I'm excited to be here on today. So wonderful Thursday. As I
Yes,
say,
it is.
thriving Thursday. This morning I got up saying it's a thriving Thursday. So
Oh, I like that.
here.
Thriving Thursday. Yes, indeed. And I also like your background. It looks like you're outside.
I am outside. I am live. I am enjoying this patio. It's hot outside, but it's crazy because the patio is nice and cool. It's probably the fan and a little the
Mhm.
air conditioner comes out here. So it's still nice. I get to work out here, enjoy the birds, and enjoy the day. So I thought this would be the perfect place to talk to you today.
Oh yes, thriving Thursdays. Thursday. I like that. And we're talking about transformation, and of course, thriving is a part of transforming. So I like
Yes,
that you put that in there.
yes,
And that's what we are. That is our goal: is to help people to thrive,
absolutely.
transform their lives, take control of your life and your destiny, and
Yes,
thrive and
and
flourish. And
thrive.
so we missed last week, but today we're back on it, talking about transformation, and we're talking about today. The last time we were talking about your image,
Hmm.
your imagination, how your imagination is the breeding ground to manifest your vision, to nurture and manifest your vision. And we were talking about how you have to get that image of your vision in
Hmm.
your mind and
Hmm.
work toward it. And today we're going to be talking about faith to
Yes.
manifest that vision. And I'm so excited to talk about that because to me, faith is the core of your life. What you
Yes.
believe is the core of your life. So, what is faith to you, and how important is faith when it comes to cultivating that image, your vision that you have in your mind, cultivating that image and that vision that we want to see manifest in the natural. We know that it's in the spirit realm, that area that you can't see. So, how important is faith in manifesting your vision?
Faith. At first, I want to say this because let's define what faith is. The moment you say faith, most of the time we immediately go to Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the substance. Well, let me take out the now faith because most of the time we say faith is the substance, but actually the scriptures say now faith is the substance of
Hmm.
things
Hmm.
hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So faith to me is just the assurance that okay, this is something possible, this can happen. So when we're talking about vision, in order for your vision to even begin to be a reality for you, you first got to have the faith that this is even a possibility, that this can happen. I can have something, I can have a new career, I can have a new job, I can have strength, I can be healed. You got
Yes.
to first have that faith, and the evidence is, and it says the evidence of things not seen. So if you can't touch it and you can't feel it, then what is your evidence? Your evidence is, I've heard someone else say this happened to them and I believe it. I've seen that God worked this out in someone else's life. I've seen people be healed. I've seen people purchase new homes. I've seen people purchase new cars. I've seen people move up in their career. So the evidence is, maybe it hadn't happened for me right now. My evidence is I have proof that it has happened for people on other occasions. So therefore, that's now my faith. So in order for us to cultivate that vision that you spoke of,
Mm-hmm.
In order for that vision to work, you're going to have to operate in faith. You're going to have some beliefs. Because again, as I say, you can cut it out, you can put it on the paper, you can write it down all day. But if that's all you're doing and you're not going back to revisit and say, I'm believing that this is going to happen, then 2 years from now, 3 years from now, guess what? It's just going to be on that piece of paper. You got to go visit it often. I go visit my vision board, or whether it's on paper or whether it's on a board, wherever it is, I visit my vision in my head every single day.
Mm-hmm. And I like the fact that you said that you have to revisit, and you have to
Yes.
visit and revisit and revisit,
Mm-hmm.
because that helps cultivate that image in your mind,
Yes.
in the inner part, and allows you to really connect to it, emotionally,
Yes.
physically. It allows you to connect to it by revisiting. And I like the fact that you brought that out, because when you talked about faith, and then we also know that it says faith come by hearing, or
Yes.
and you keep hearing, and the
Over and
way
over.
you keep hearing is that you keep putting it before you too,
Yes.
and
Yes.
talking about it. I think last time we also talked about prayer and meditation,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
how that is a way for you. That's a way to
That's a way.
visit and to
Exactly.
revisit. So I like that you brought that out. I like that you put put it in that way, that you have to visit and revisit in order for your faith begin to take root.
And even when you talk about visit, I know for me, I keep saying I'm going to go get me a Tesla. I'm going to get a Tesla. So that's now
Mhm.
my dream car. So not only do I have it on a board, not only am I writing about it, they put a
Mhm.
Tesla dealership not far from me. So guess what I do now? I went down to the Tesla dealership, got in the car, took a picture in the car, talked to the man like I was about to order the car.
Ooh.
So it brought just what you said. It brought those feelings for me. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh, and so when I did that test drive, I was like, now I know what it feels like to be in this
Mhm.
car, to drive this car and be like, okay, you know what? This is what I want. And so even with purchasing a home, until you can look at a picture and say, I want to
Mhm.
purchase a new home, and you get some feelings, but it's nothing like when you start going to go into some homes and walk around. And when you find
Yeah.
that home, it's a whole
Mhm.
nother feeling. Like, okay, then now you're really waking up saying, I remember when I walked through. Now I don't want a single door, I want the double doors. It enlarges your vision. So now
Yeah.
comes the feelings with it. Now comes the enlargement. So the more that you can get that tangible piece. So again, we're talking about you're going to put some action into it. And the action is sometimes you got to get up and do something else. So I would go to the homes when I was looking to purchase a home. I visit so many homes, even before I had filled out paperwork or anything. I
Uh-huh.
went to homes. I drove in neighborhoods that I was interested in staying. I was like, well, I want my neighborhood to have this. I want my neighborhood to have that. So I already knew what it felt like to live in a neighborhood that had a pool, a community pool. I knew what it had, a tennis court. So I knew what it felt like. So when I got to the neighborhood that offered all those things for me, I was like, now I'm home, because I found that feeling that I was looking for. I already knew what that feeling was going to be like. And so
Uh-huh.
I knew I wanted the sidewalks. I knew there were certain things that I was looking for. And so I
Mhm.
didn't just write those things down. I was manifesting those things by physically going and feeling those things and seeing those things. And when I tell you, it has been amazing. So yeah, when you said to touch, to feel, and have those feelings, it's
Mhm.
when the feelings come along with it.
Oh, you're in, you all in
Oh, you're
then.
ready to go. Once you get those feelings in, it's like, you know what? This me. And I would always say, I find myself that's my new word. When there's something is working right, I say, this me. So when there's
Mhm.
a car, I say, this me right here. When I walked into
Mhm.
my house, I said, this is me right here.
This
So,
is me.
when I go into a career, this me right here. This who I am
Uh-huh.
right here.
Exactly, exactly. And you were saying we have our dear sister on here. She's Dr. Carol Washington. How you doing, Dr. Carol? So good to have you. So good to have you with us. Dr. Carol says she believes her keys coming soon.
Absolutely. I
I
love
know
it. I
that's right.
love it.
And I'm telling you. And so you were talking about that action. Once you
Yes.
got the image in your head and you begin to see it and believe it. Now, I often say this: if you're not saying anything, and if you're not moving toward it, you don't believe it.
You
You
don't
don't
believe
believe it. Acting on what you see is important to activate your faith. Sometimes we think because we know something from our brain,
it.
that we actually know it, or we actually do it because I think one time you talked about how just because you read it over and over and over, you really think you're doing something.
But you know,
You really think you're doing something, but you got to actually move beyond reading and reading and reading, because believing, faith calls you to act. So how does faith and action work together? We often talk about the scripture, faith without works is dead, but so how does faith and action work together?
faith and your action. Okay, you can have faith, but when something is required, that's now your action part. So I'll
Mm-hmm.
use this. My faith grew when I mastered something. So
Mm-hmm.
when my action was I had to do it over and over and over. So when I mastered it, it
Uh-huh.
increased my faith. So faith and action got to is going to work together. If you just have faith and do nothing, nothing is going to happen. If you have
Mm-hmm.
action, you got a lot of people out there doing a whole bunch of stuff, but they don't believe anything is going to happen. It's not that they're not doing anything, they're doing it. You get people, for example, people get up and go to work from a 9 to 5 every single day, and they say, one day I'm going to be rich, one day I'm going to be rich, one day I'm going to be
Mm-hmm.
rich. But
Mm-hmm.
you're just saying that, you don't really believe that, because when I have a conversation with you, you say, well, I'm poor, we always poor, this just who I am, all my family been poor. So you're going to work 9 to 5, and your mouth is saying one day I'm going to be rich, but your
Mm-hmm.
actions say you don't do anything differently, you do no overtime, so
Come
therefore
on.
you are not mastering
Mm-hmm.
anything. but
Mm-hmm.
but this is what happened when we master the game. When you see the top players playing basketball, football, or whatever, they have mastered it. So their faith increases. So that when they go
Mm-hmm.
and they said, well, you know what? Yes, I'm going to do 52 points today. When they're playing basketball, I'm going to do 52 points. Why? Because they put some action to it. They've been practicing. They've been
Yeah.
playing the game. They've been showing up. They've been working out. So they have mastered what they want to happen. So, and that's what we have to do. Again, we're talking about purchasing a home. So if we're going to purchase a home, well, you got to master, well, how does loans work if I need to get a loan? How does fixing my credit? You got to master getting your credit fixed. I know when I got ready to start a business, it wasn't enough just to go register with the state. I then had to master what business I wanted to run. So I knew
Mm-hmm.
certain parts of it, but until I really got in there and started doing more, the more I did, the more I mastered it. The more
Mm-hmm.
I mastered it, the more opportunity came. More
Yeah.
opportunity came, the more my faith grew. I remember you talking about singing when you first started singing. You said, you know what, I couldn't sing. You had some singers that you admired, but you talked about closing yourself in a room for hours and just
Mm-hmm.
practicing and practicing and practicing. And here, if you had told someone that, they wouldn't have believed. They've been like, Cassandra, you were born singing, and you're like, no, I couldn't sing.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
mastered this by doing it over and over and over. So the faith come the more we master something. So that's where our action is. You got to put some action in. You have to do your part. So faith is a two-way street. My faith is I got to do my part. The second part is God's power would come. God's
Yeah.
power is waiting on us. That's what faith is. Faith is us and God's power. So when we
Mm-hmm.
want something done, I need to bring my faith to God's power. And when I bring my faith to God's power, it's going to work out. But if you bring nothing, then guess what? God's power is just sitting there waiting on you, like, okay, I'm waiting for you, but you're not bringing
That's
me
it.
anything to work with, because we already know the word said we can't even please him without faith. So
That's
what are we
it.
doing? We can't even. So we're going to have to increase our faith. That's really the tool. Anything that you want to do is not a secret. You're going to have to bring faith with it, especially as
Mm-hmm.
believers. Faith is the thing that's going to make all these things work for us. Until
Mm-hmm.
we really, really believe that this is an option for us and we bring faith with it, nothing is going to happen. We'll be here 2 years later doing the same thing.
That is so true. Because if you believe it, you're gonna move toward that thing. You
Absolutely.
you're gonna move toward that thing. Like you were talking about the house, and with me singing and different things. I couldn't sing, but guess what? I believed I could. I believe
Yes.
I was going to. That's why I started practicing.
Yes.
That's why I started working on it. You didn't have that didn't have that house yet, or you didn't have the business that you wanted yet. But because you believed it, you started doing things to get you
Yes.
to work toward that. And so it does. It motivates you to action. Faith
Absolutely.
motivates you to action. Dr. Carol said, "Faith without works is dead on arrival." And then she says, moving from where you are to somewhere new is showing progressive movement toward increasing your faith. That's right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Without faith, without some type of action, it does. You don't believe it.
Yeah. You know what? I tell people vision and victory isn't on the auto and is not automated. Vision and victory is not just because you have a vision does not guarantee victory. You can have it's not set on auto because I hear people say, well, I know what's going to happen. God showed it to me. Yes, he showed it to you and he told you this is what I have for you. This is absolutely what you can have. But you can't stay in the bed 20 of those 24 hours and think that it's going to happen. You're going to have to get out of the bed, get yourself together and educate yourself. Just because you have the vision does not mean, again, I'm going to say it again, vision and victory is not automated. It's not set on autopilot. No, you got to get up and do your part. It's manual labor.
Yes.
It's manual. It's a manual labor.
Dr. Carol said, you better say it. Vision and victory are not automatic.
Yes. No, you got to do your part.
You got to do your part. If you believe that you're going to go toward that, and that's an indication of whether or not you have faith.
Absolutely.
What are you doing to work toward this vision and image that you have, that this promise of what you see? I tell people all the time, sometimes using biblical things. If Abraham and Sarah did not believe that they were going to have a baby,
guess what?
Although they were old, they never would have done anything. If Hannah didn't believe that she wasn't gonna have no son, she wouldn't have went back and got close to Elkanah.
Ever.
Because you believe it. Because you believe it, then you're gonna move toward that. Absolutely. You're going to move toward that. How you doing, Lady Samantha? Hello. So it takes faith to make it happen. Faith is going to make it happen. Faith is going to make it happen. So when you talked earlier about how you think, dreaming big, seeing, making your vision expand. I like what that scripture that says in Isaiah 54, when Isaiah was encouraging his people. He said, stretch forth your tents, make room, because you're going to burst on the left and the right. I think you should dream big. And I heard somebody say, if sometimes the reason God is not moving or doing is because we think it too small. And he wants us to come up. And it is often said, if your vision doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. I think your vision should stretch you. I think it should pull you out of your comfort zone and help you to become that person that you know that you created to be and that you see. Is there ever a time when fear is a good thing? And what is an indication that you are encountering a spirit of fear? Is there ever a time when fear is a good thing? And when is it an indication that you are encountering a spirit of fear?
Fear is a good thing sometimes. If you are headed down a dark alley, you should get a notion that, as a single female, I should not be going down this dark alley. That's not good. There should be some fear. There should be some anxiety in there saying, this is not a smart decision. So I need to turn around. I need to not go this way. So that's when you should have some fear. You should have some anxiety. If there is a bear or something, fear protects us too. Sometimes, if there's a wild animal, you get that fear that tells you flight. It's time to run, take off, go the other direction. So that's when fear is good. Fear is good when it's protecting us from something that is harmful. That is when fear is good. Fear is not good when it's protected, when it stops us from doing something good or moving into a direction that we should be moving into. Again, I tell people that's the number one strategy that the enemy uses is fear. He knows if he can get you afraid, he's not trying to attack us in most other things. Most of the time, he's trying to attack us in fear, because the fear is going to stop you from moving forward. And how do you know it's a spirit of fear? I believe is the second part of your question. How you know it's a spirit of fear is because before, that's the first thought that comes to your mind. Even before you consider what you want to do, how you come to do, immediately fear say, oh, you can't do that. Oh, you can't do that. People are going to laugh at you. I tell people, really, it is the first thing that comes to us, because it comes negative. You ever had a thought where you wanted to, let's say I want to quit my job. I remember when I wanted to quit my job, and I mentioned that I was going to quit my job. The moment I said that I was going to quit my job, and I shared it with other people, they came in not with my fear, they came with their fear. Well, what are you going to do if you quit this good job? How are you going to pay your bills? Well, what's going to happen to you? And they kept saying, so their fear, eventually they tried to put that on me to say, but I dealt with that enemy before. Like, I recognize that spirit, because that spirit brings about a doubt. And so I was like, no, I'm going to quit this job. I wasn't worried about, what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, because I have built up my faith. And how we know our faith is not built, I call it when your faith is damaged. When your faith is damaged, that's when you take on other people's fear. So that's, again, you take on that spirit of fear, and that spirit of fear say, don't move, don't do anything, don't even try. That's when you know it's a spirit of fear. It won't even let you try. The least you could do is try something that you're supposed to be doing, because I promise you, the enemy not going to tell you anything good. He's not going to tell you, go start a ministry. So if you say, I'm going to go start a ministry, and immediately the fear kicking, well, what if nobody listen? Well, what if nobody support? That's a spirit of fear trying to enter into your mind, your body, and your soul to get you to stop. Because as much as people say, well, the enemy don't know this, the devil don't know anything, he know enough. You know enough about who you are to know how effective you're going to be. And if nothing else, he knows the power of God that's inside of you. So he knows he needs to stop you. So he immediately sends that spirit of fear in all that you do, whether it's ministry, whether it's work, whether it's educating, whatever you're doing, the enemy immediately wants to send that one thing, which is fear, to attack your mind, body, and soul.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Lady Samantha said the enemy uses fear for sure.
Yes.
100. Now, someone on our business page, my business page, said the spirit of fear torments. It torments, telling you what you can't do, making you think all this. Well, if you do this is going to happen, and it's something bad going to happen, something negative, as you say. It brings torment. You can't. It damages your faith, as you said, and who you really are. It paints a different picture. Lady Samantha says the enemy isn't going to tell you to do anything good, just like you said. Felicia said, I was just having this conversation with somebody else. The spirit of fear is a mindset that comes to stop you from taking action.
Absolutely. And the other thing, Cassandra, what happened with that is, if he can get the spirit of fear into the parents, into the adults, you know what we do? We share that spirit, and we forward that spirit on into our children, into our bloodline. So you ever met parents who tell their children, well, you don't move out, because anything could happen to you. Somebody could break in your house, somebody could rape you, somebody could beat you up. But where did that spirit come from? The Bible said God didn't even give us the spirit of fear. And that never even happened to you. So why is that your thought? Why are you telling your 22-year-old daughter, don't move out because this could happen to you, versus saying, let's get you out, let's get you in a good place, let's keep you safe, and God is going to protect us. And sometimes as Christian, we're the first to do that. So we can't be 50-50. Either we have faith and we believe that God is going to protect us in all things, or we're going to live in fear. And we know that's from the enemy. So you can't be, well, I'm 50% Christian and I'm 50% not. No. You're not pleasing God by passing that fear on to your children. But that's what happened when you allowed that spirit of fear. He didn't just come to enter into your home He came to enter into everything in your life and get it passed on from generation to generation. You'll hear people, well, I'm the first one to start a business in my family line. Forever? In 100 years? You're the first one?
Mhm.
Why? Because a spirit of fear came in. Somebody in the bloodline say, don't do it. We can't do
Mhm.
it. We always got to work 9 to 5. So that's why you have people saying, I'm the first one that ever did it. Why? Why are you the first one to ever college? Because
Mhm.
someone told the family members you not smart enough to go to college. So that
Uh-huh.
fear kicked in. Most of the time it has nothing to do with money. Most of the time it's just the fear you can't do it. Said
Yeah.
who? Said who? The enemy is coming to put that fear in the whole family.
Yes. And as you would say, I say he's a general in Satan's army.
Yes,
He
he
is
is.
he's leading the pack. He's leading the
Yes,
group.
he
And
is.
like Lady Samantha says, faith over fear. You got to choose.
You
You
got
should
to
know
choose.
trembling. We were talking about every time I get ready to do these lives, I just
Yes.
feel this
Yes.
anxiety coming over. And I know what it is.
And we know what it is.
And like Lady Samantha said, I have to choose. Am I going to be fearful?
Mhm.
Or am I going to just
Mhm.
do what it is that I know that I'm supposed to do? And if I will go by how it tries to make me feel, I will miss out on it every time.
That's
Because once I get
absolutely.
started, it goes away.
It goes away.
It,
So
it
that
goes
tells you it's just
away.
a spirit trying to attack you. It's just a spirit
Exactly.
trying to attack. And I love the fact that you said it's choice. Everything that we do are choices. So if your
Mhm.
life isn't moving in the direction that you want it to, and you're saying my faith is weak, that's because of the choices you're making. You're allowing
Mhm.
your faith to
Mhm.
be weak and not be built because you're choosing to sit down, you're choosing to be still, you're choosing to allow the enemy to constantly tell you the same thing over and over. And not only is he
Mhm.
telling you, you're acting up on it, but those are choices that you're making. And again, as we said
Exactly.
earlier, faith without action and
Mhm.
faith without work is dead. It's dead. You're just talking, you having a good old conversation with nobody. That's all you
That's
doing is having a good old conversation with nobody.
And then we're letting stuff that hasn't even happened, that may not even happen, stop us just like it's there for real. I
Exactly. And
mean,
it becomes real. It becomes
mhm,
real.
mhm,
The more you let it play in your mind, it becomes real. And now,
exactly.
that's what you said. You have completely stopped because something plays so much in your mind that it has now become a reality. That's why I'm glad this is like mental health week, a month, because mental health, that's such a huge part of mental health. A lot of times, all these things that's happening is being it's playing in your mind. It's not even a reality.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
know I've encountered people in the past where they said, I looked across the room and I saw her looking at me funny. And then I looked down the hall and he was talking about me. You can hear down the hall?
Yeah.
You can hear somebody talking about you down the hall? I can't hear that. And I hear pretty well, Cassandra, and I smell pretty well, but I cannot hear you talking about me down the hall. That's in your mind.
In your
And
mind.
however you think, and you start reading that into everything. If you start believing it and thinking, and you say it over and over enough, it becomes your reality. So when I work with divorced couples as well. And so I remember talking to this lady, and she said, well, my husband did this and he said that. And she said, that never happened. But he said, yes, it did. Yes, it did. And she said, that never happened. And he was like, yes. I said, okay, you know what the problem is? If it happened in his mind, it's his reality.
Yeah.
And if it didn't happen in your mind, it's your reality. So
Mhm,
in your neither one, she said one of us lied. I said, actually, neither one of you lying. Because
mhm,
in your mind, you said that never took place. And his mind, he said it took place. And it was a conversation that they had. And he said, we
mhm,
never had that conversation. And again, I said, neither one of you are lying. You're both telling the truth. It is how you're communicating. But again,
mhm,
in their minds had
mhm,
told them something so different, and they each
mhm.
100% believed it. And that's where the enemy does. He gets it in our mind and he plays it over and over. You can't do this. You can't survive. If you remember, you failed at this one time before, right? You remember you
Yeah.
tried 5 companies before and they all failed, right? So what make you
Mhm,
think you can do company number 6 and it's gonna work? What make you think that? So if that plays over and over, and if you don't have no words to say back, We got to learn how to talk. Our mama said, don't talk back. But there's a time in life you got to learn how to talk back. And that's who you should be talking back to. When those thoughts come, we talked about this before in a session where we say, what do I need to do? You got to find a mechanism that you can put and say, stop talking. You can tell your thoughts, stop. Not today. And we jokingly say sometimes stop saying, but sometimes we got to say stop saying, but you can say stop to those thoughts. Stop.
That's right.
Not today. I remember I watched this this show, it's called Fire Starter, and this little girl would catch fire. She could make things start a fire or whatever, and it was called Fire Starter. And she could think about it, and whatever she thought about would catch a fire. If she looked at it, she became angry, her whole body would catch on fire. And if she was upset with you, she could make you catch on fire, but she didn't know how to control it. And so her dad was trying to teach her how to control it. He said, when you get upset and you get frustrated and you don't want that fire to attack someone, you say, back up. And so I remember this little girl would always say when the fire, she would look at that fire like this, Christine, and she'd say, back up. And that's all we got to do with the enemy. When he come attacking, we got to look at him straight in the eye and say, back up. So when them crazy thoughts come, back up. Stop. You too close. Back up. You have access, and we got to deny access to the enemy. We got to deny access to bad thoughts. We got to deny access to bad habits. How do I know? Because I'm trying to lose some weight over here, and every day I have to say back up. Girl, I gotta tell that chocolate to back up.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to to the next thing I want to talk to you about when you're going through the process of manifesting your vision, going through the transformation process. Sometimes you get frustrated. To me, frustration is a sign that you're probably doing something that you shouldn't be doing, and trying to do something that's out of your control. So how do you just touched on it a little bit. How do you deal with your clients who become frustrated or impatient?
If you get to a point, whatever you're doing, and you are frustrated, take a rest. Most of the time, the frustration comes because we're burnt out, we're tired, and we've been doing it too long. And so we got to know how to, and I know sometimes when you can get in the zone and you just going and going because you're just trying to get to that finish line. But if you're feeling that you're frustrated and you're irritated, and you're snappy. And first of all, you got to recognize it in yourself, because I recognize when I'm snappy and I'm irritated, I'm frustrated. And I realize that all that means to me is I need to take a rest. So I tell people, learn to meditate. This is a good time to learn to meditate when you're trying to go to the next level in whatever it is, whether it's in ministry, whether it's business, whatever you're trying to do, and you find that frustration has come. I know right now I'm working with several people who are trying to rebuild. And one of the things that they were getting frustrated with was, I did this before and I'm trying to do it the same way. I said, there lies the problem. You're trying to do it the exact same way. Stop being frustrated and listen. You're not listening to what the Holy Spirit is telling you, because maybe he's telling you it's going to be the same organization, but you're not going to run it the same way. You're not going to rebuild it the same way. So the frustration is you're fighting against what the answer is. If you relax, the answer that you should be doing right now will come easily. It doesn't have to be a struggle. If you find that you're struggling against something, then you're going in the wrong direction. Life does not have to be a struggle. We don't have to struggle. When God provides an answer for us, it comes with clarity. If you find that you're struggling with it, that's because you're trying to go your way. Stop trying to go your way. Pray, fast, and meditate, and go the way God is trying to take you, and it will become easy. And when you find that you're frustrated, and again, I take a nap. I have learned I'll take a nap at 2:00. I'll take a nap at 1:00. I'll take a nap at 5:00. I don't worry about it. Well, I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight. If I take a nap, I take a nap. When I feel overwhelmed, I will take a nap on you. Okay.
And what you think about too, about sometimes we get so focused and overwhelmed or tunnel vision on trying to accomplish that big picture, that we don't take the time to celebrate those small things that we are accomplishing on the way.
Yes, you got to stop and celebrate and reward yourself. I'm really big on rewarding myself. I have come to learn that I mean, it's just like being in grade school. You know, in grade school, you did more if the teacher said, you know, if you learn all your alphabet and you can do all these spelling words and you're going to get some candy, guess what? You learn all those alphabets, you learn your spelling words, and they rewarded you a little bit at a time. And before you knew it, you were putting words together because you were getting rewarded along the way. And now you're putting sentences together. Why? Because the teacher was rewarding us along the way. And so that would be my suggestion is enjoy the moment. Reward yourself along the way. And it's so true, Cassandra. A lot of times we get the big picture. I got the house. Now I want the house furnished. And so we're running. We're constantly running. Stop and enjoy where you are. And so I set goals for me. I set goals like I knew I had a financial goal that I wanted to reach this year. I was like, when I reach this financial goal this year, I'm going to get me some red bottom shoes. That was my thing. I was like, I want some red bottom shoes. I just had this thing. I liked them. I was like, that's my goal. If I reach this goal, this is what I'm going to do. And we got to have something in place that we're going to reward ourselves with. Not just say, well, I'm going to reward myself with what though? What are you going? So now it's just the same thing as setting goals, like, and reward and enjoy the moment, enjoy the time. So when I got that wonderful little package that came in the mail, I was just super happy. Like, I was like, okay, again, not paying attention. Like, I had reached a goal a month ago. It was like, wait, I forgot to reward myself. And as soon as I realized, and we were sitting here doing the books, I was like, guess what I'm about to order? So yeah, life is short. If COVID haven't taught us anything, it should have taught us by now. Life is short. Enjoy life. As you see, I'm sitting out here on the back patio because I have learned just take a moment and just enjoy the simple things of life. We so worried about the complex things of life. Enjoy the simple things of life. Take a walk, drink some tea, sit on the patio, cross your legs, listen to the birds sing. So a lot of the stress we bring on ourselves because we're not taking the time to just enjoy the simple things. But if you go and you talk to people who've had major surgeries, who've almost died, who's had life-threatening, who's lost things, you know what they tell us? Enjoy life. When they come back from those things that's so traumatic, they learn to just enjoy the simple things. Like they don't even worry about things. When it's like, okay, your light bill is due. They don't worry about the light bill. They're just like, honey, if they turn the lights on, some type of way the lights will get turned back on. They get to the point where they trust and they have faith. And at our age, I know for me, I think by the time I got in 30s and 40s, I was at that place like, you know what? God gonna keep the lights on. If they get turned off, he gonna help me get them turned back on. I don't even worry about where's the money coming from. I don't know, but I just know what I'm gonna say, and it's gonna show up. I was sharing with someone a couple of weeks ago. I was in Mississippi and decided I wanted to purchase a property while I was there. And when I was telling the lady, she was telling me, how much the property was, and I was telling her what I was going to do. And she was looking at me like, lady, I said, no. I said, okay, but when you change your mind, I'll be here to purchase the property at the way I want to purchase the property. And she said, well, you can go get a loan. I said, I don't want to get a loan. I want to pay cash, and this is how I want to pay it. But I'm telling you, that's not how it's going to work. I was like, that's how it's going to work. Again, we got to get so confident. We got to have so much faith that we believe that God will do anything. And he ain't going to hold with anything good from us. So we can just speak it and we can just say it. Why am I quitting my job? Because God said I could quit my job. Why am I not going to work? I hadn't worked in almost 90 days now. I took a 90-day vacation. Like, why? God has provided. I've come to know him as a provider. So I don't have to worry about, what's going to get paid, what's not going to get paid. He is a provider. I can't tell you where anything is lacking. I don't see, nor am I looking for anything lacking. Again, vision and faith. And what is our belief? And the more he does, and the more we grow that faith is that thing. It gets strong and strong. It's like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets. And now I know why Peter walked on the water. His faith. His faith was so strong, he can walk on the water. Now, I don't know if I can walk on the water or not, but I know I don't have to work if I don't want to, but God is going to provide. If he
Yes,
gives me a
indeed.
different assignment, I just got to work the assignment that he's going to give me, and the finances will come. So when I say not working, I'm talking about not working in the area he doesn't want me to work in. But if he say, hey, Bernadette, I want you in full-time ministry, I get to go in full-time ministry. And guess what? I am his responsibility. If he
That's
moves
it.
me full time, it's your responsibility to figure out how am I going to get paid so I can rest in he's going to work it out.
That's it. And I like what like I love what you just said, and Lady Samantha kind of echoed what you said. She said, just rest. Just
Just rest
chill out with God and just
and
rest.
just
Knowing
rest.
that because anytime he gives you a directive, anytime he tells you to do something, he has the provision there for you. He has the plan for you. We just have to believe it and trust. And you're not gonna know all the details. He's
No,
not going to tell you. That's why it's important when you do the one thing that he tells you to do and you accomplish that, celebrate, give him praise, okay? And not be
absolutely.
overwhelmed by, well, what's going to come next? What's going to happen? And I think a lot of times that's what produces that fear too, because we're
Yes,
trying to figure out what's going to happen? What's going to come? Just take it one day, one
yes,
thing at a time, and
yes.
do what you're supposed to do right now. Do what you're supposed to
Mhm.
do today. Do what you're supposed
Absolutely.
to do today, and acknowledge him at the beginning of your day. Okay, what is it that
Mhm.
you want me to do? Do what he tells you to do today, and then tomorrow, when tomorrow comes, do what he tells you that day. But
Exactly.
we get overwhelmed with trying to figure out, well, what's gonna happen next year.
I'm laughing because that used to be me. I used to be trying to plan for every single day, every single minute, just trying to fix it, trying to make it work, trying to do this. But I have
Uh-huh.
learned to live in just today. All I have
Mm-hmm.
is 24 hours. I just give me this 24 hours. When we
Mm-hmm.
talk about the daily bread, I got it. One day the light bulb came on and said, it says daily, not weekly, not monthly, not yearly, daily.
Uh-huh.
Just just today. Can we still plan? Absolutely, we should still be planning. But I'm talking about where we're
Uh-huh.
planning so much that we're worried about what's going to happen next week. I don't
I
have to worry about next
know.
week. I don't have to worry about tomorrow. I just have to focus on today. And when you
Mm-hmm.
learn to live in 24 hours, it brings about clarity itself. It brings about a
Mm-hmm.
focus all by itself. I'm not worried about what I'm going to be doing this time tomorrow. I don't know. I don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even look at my schedule anymore to the next to the in the morning. Like
Uh-huh.
whatever I put on there, it's on there. So I get up in the morning, I look at like, oh, I got to talk to Cassandra today at 2 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah, and you talked a little bit earlier about setting goals, and it's
Yes.
good to set goals, set realistic goals. It's good to set goals, and then of course it's good to acknowledge him about the plan and what it is that you have to
Mhm.
work. And I like the fact, and it can be and if we allow it to be, it can be overwhelming. But and this is why it takes faith. He won't tell you what the whole plan is all at
Yes.
once to get you to what the vision that you're seeing. But he'll
Yes.
tell you this one thing to do right now. And that should be your goal. That
Absolutely.
should be your goal. My goal is like when I started this, started doing these lives, and because we help one another. My goal was do one video. Do
Yes.
one, Cassandra. And it took some time to work because I don't like talking in front of people.
I
And my
know.
goodness, a video. But my focus was to just that one. Do
Just the
one.
one.
Okay, you did one. Now do okay. He's telling me to do another one. Do the next one. And I started preparing. Okay, this is something that he wants me to do. So let me start preparing.
Yes.
He's gonna take care of the rest. My focus
Yes.
is just to make sure that I do what he's telling me to do and do it to the best of my ability. That I cannot do. I like the woman on Family Feud that Steve Holy Spirit activate. Holy Spirit activate.
Absolutely. But you said the number one word. I was prepared. I make sure that I am prepared. I am prepared. And that's all we're talking about when we say master something. Master means I have sat down and prepared myself. When he opened the door, I'm prepared to walk through the door. You don't have
Mhm.
time to be, well, I'm getting ready. One thing I can't stand, if someone said, I'm going to go to the airport with you, and I get there to pick you up to go to the airport with me, and you're not ready, and you're saying, well, hold on. No. You're going to have to call Uber because I can't. Now, again, told you now. I done put something in place. I got this thing timed out. Because and the reason I don't is because when I get to the airport, I don't want to be in the
Mhm.
line rushing and losing and
Yeah.
all this kind of stuff. I want to be able to take my time, go through security. If there's some hiccups, have time to go through. I can't stand it when you see those people, they running through the airport, they got the bags and the children running. That's because you have mentally and physically prepared and you're
Mhm.
racing and you're running. And that stresses me out more
Oh
than if I
yeah.
just prepare and get there on time. And that's all God is asking us to do, is show up prepared and show up on time. So
Show up prepared, because if you show up prepared, he's gonna show out for you. And
yes,
just show up. And I
just show
like that
up.
that passage in, I think it's First Chronicles 20, when the prophet told Jehoshaphat and the children of Israel, said, look, you're not gonna have to fight. All I want you to do is show up. The
And show
fact
up.
that they believed what was said to them is that they showed up. They
They showed
showed
up.
up, and then when they showed up, God did just what he said he was going to do. And girl, the reward was great. It took them three
Absolutely.
days to get all that stuff, to get all the
Absolutely.
to get the harvest that was there for them. That's right, Lady Samantha. Show up.
Just show up.
Just show up. He gonna, he's gonna be there to fight for you. And so
Absolutely.
in all of this that we just said, these give us a couple of things we can do to build that faith muscle. I remember there's a passage in the scripture where I think it's when this man came to Jesus and said, look, my son is sick, I need you to heal him. And Jesus asked him, he said, do you believe? The man said, he was honest. He said, help my unbelief. I don't
Yes.
believe like I should. My faith is not where it needs to be. So help me to get my faith to where it needs to be. So how can we build this faith muscle?
One thing is true. Faith cometh by hearing. Faith come the
Mhm.
more you hear. Okay. And when we say hear, you may not have time to read the Bible back and front every single day. You're not going to have time to do that. That's unrealistic. So hearing can be, I can talk to Cassandra. She can give me her testimony. This is what happened. So I hear. So now I'm believing, like, if he did it for Cassandra, I know he'll do it for me.
Mhm.
Hearing is all. You can go find you those faith scriptures, post them all over your house.
Mhm.
That's what I do. I
Mhm.
post them all, and then I start reading. So when I get up in the morning, I'm reading my faith scripture. When I go to bed at night, I'm reading. I may look in the mirror. And so when you feel that anxiety coming, go find you that scripture and just read. Play. I mean, we really have no excuses anymore, Cassandra. I mean,
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
YouTube have taken away all of our excuses.
That's right.
We can just hit play. Now, if you're too lazy to push a button, then you don't need to be growing nowhere. I don't even know what you need to be doing. But all you got to do now is push a button to grow your faith. But you got to hear it. You got to make up your mind.
Mhm,
I'm going to hear this every day. I'm going to hear
mhm,
it all day. So this is what I would tell people: make a list, without even thinking about it. Takes the from right now until, I'll say, Sunday morning. Write down what you do every single minute. Everything that you're doing every single minute. Don't change it. Just write down right now what you would be doing. So if you're listening to us, if you're eating right now, that's what you're doing. I'm eating right now. If
mhm,
you're watching TV right now, that's what I'm doing. I'm watching TV
mhm,
and I'm eating. So write down everything that you're doing, because on average, you're realizing that you're wasting more time watching other people that's making
mhm,
money while you're sitting around complaining about not having money.
mhm,
So you're not doing, so you got to change that. So you got to flip it. So it's the same way. If you want to make more money, then you got to hear stuff and you got to do stuff that's talking about you making more money, not about what
mhm.
someone else is doing. So I know people ask me about reality TV. I said, I don't watch reality TV. Like, why you don't watch? Because they already making money. So the more I'm watching them, the more money they make. I need somebody watching Bernadette. So I need to be out here doing what I need to do, or I need someone to be talking to me. I don't want to watch TV and let the TV talking to me, because I don't get a check when the TV talk to me. I get a check when I talk to somebody. So you
Mm-hmm.
got to flip it. So if you're finding that you're spending 5 hours just watching TV, and you got 5 more hours where you're just on the phone talking to friends because y'all chit chat. Now I talk to my friends and we chit chat too, but I talk more to people that's cutting checks than my friends that's
Mm-hmm.
chit chatting. So we gotta flip it. And the only way you know where you're wasting your time is you got to keep a time diary. If I that's how I fix that issue. I don't get to
Mm-hmm.
watch TV as often as I used to. It's been years since I watched as much TV as I used to, because why? I realized I don't make money when I'm just sitting there watching TV. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what was taking up my time at the time. So that's what I turn off. Well, some people, sometimes you're doing nothing. You don't even know what
Mm-hmm.
you're doing. You ever wake up and
Mm-hmm.
you have people say, "Well, I don't even know what I did yesterday. I don't know where my time went to." Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're wasting time. And we no
Mm-hmm.
longer have time to waste. And so now it's time to take advantage of it. So, how you can grow your faith is listen to more stuff that's going to grow in the area where you want to grow, the area that
Mm-hmm.
you need to grow. You listen to positive things and stop letting negative thoughts, stop letting negative people come into your mind, because
Mm-hmm.
you're giving more space. I call it rental space. You're giving
Mm-hmm.
more rental space to negative things than you are positive things. Flip it. Give more positive things rental space, or
Yeah.
permanent space in your mind, and get
Mm-hmm.
all that negative stuff out. Don't even have time to listen to it. Don't even have time to read about it. I mean, when I'm talking to people and all they want to talk about is Ukraine, I can't talk about Ukraine for 24 hours. No. Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
I got to hear something else than Ukraine. Let me pray for Ukraine during the time that I'm praying for Ukraine. And then the rest of the time, let me hear the positive. I feed off of positive. I feed off of the good things of life. We're at this point where you don't have time to feed off the negative. And if you do, again, it's the choices you're making. If you got a bunch of negative people always coming to you, guess why they're attracted to you? Those are choices you have made. You've said, you've opened that door, and that's why all the negative stuff is coming to you. That's why all the negative people come to you. That's why they know you the person that can talk about anybody, because they know you have opened that door. And just as you open that door, you can close
Mm-hmm.
that door and say, that's not who I am anymore. From this moment, from right now, that's not what I do. And yes, you got to practice it. So when I'm telling you what I do. When someone calls and they're talking about something, let's pray. And you tell them let's pray enough, they're gonna hang up. They ain't gonna keep going.
They don't want to hear that, because they want to feed into that
Yes,
negativity.
yes,
And and it, like you say, it takes practice, and you got to be intentional about it.
yes.
It takes work.
It
That's
takes work.
our labor. That's your work. Your
That's your
work
work.
needs to be to work on building your faith, building your mind by putting those positive things, those promises in your mind, because those thoughts are going to negative thoughts are going to come, negative people are going to come, negative situations are going to
Mhm.
come. And so you got to be prepared and ready. You got to be prepared and ready for all of that. And the more you do it, that your faith muscle is going to increase. You're going to become stronger in what you're believing and what you're seeing to happen.
Absolutely. So
Yes, indeed.
at the end of the day, I would say practice what you preach. That's all we got to do. If we practice what we preach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I tell you, this has been so good talking about faith, and faith is so very, very important. You don't have faith, you don't expect anything to happen.
Nothing is
Don't
going to
expect anything to happen. So you got
happen.
to have faith. And I do hope that what you have said, what we've talked about, has really encouraged someone and given someone some tools, some skills, some resources to
Yeah,
work, to manifest that vision, make it happen. One thing we talked about, and you said, this is a year of accomplishments.
absolutely. That's the
You
only thing I
want to
write down
see
is the things I'm going to accomplish, nothing
This
else.
is a year of accomplishment. So if you want to accomplish what it is that you see, whether it's losing weight, increasing your finances, coming out of debt, starting or advancing a business, traveling more,
Yes.
enjoying life more, is going to take doing something differently than what you've done.
Absolutely.
And if you really believe it and want to see those things happen, your actions are going to be different. Your habits are going to
Absolutely.
be different. You're going to change some things. So I want to thank you again for coming on. We're
You're
going to
very welcome.
continue our transformation series. Next time, we're going to be talking about how to receive it, because I believe you have to receive it
Yes.
before
Yes.
it actually comes into manifestation.
Yes.
So, but sometimes it's hard because you got to believe you're worthy. But
Yes.
we're
Yes.
not
You got
going
to
to get
learn.
into it.
You got to learn to receive.
Got to learn how to receive. So that's what
Yeah.
we're going to be talking about next week in our transformation series:
Awesome.
how to receive the manifestation of what you're believing for and expecting before it actually happens in the natural, because you do know that it has to happen inwardly before it manifests on the outside. So we're
Absolutely.
looking forward to Bernadette talking to us next week, telling us what we need to do to receive it, because we're going to get it. It's going to happen. We're
Yes.
going
It's
to
going to
accomplish it.
happen.
Yes, thank you,
Absolutely.
ladies. Samantha, Felicia, Dr. Carol, all you wonderful people. Somebody was on the Life Enhancement and Development page, so I don't know your name, but thank you for joining us. We hope you join us again next week. And this is going to replay again tonight at 6:00 p.m. So in case someone missed it, or some people, Dr. Carol was sharing with some people, they let them know that it's going to replay again tonight at 6:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. So thank you all for joining us. Thank you again, Bernadette. Bernadette,
You're
I
very
called you
welcome.
Dr. Hicks on a session that Dr. Carol and I was doing, and she said I said she gonna get me.
I'm gonna get you.
But your
Don't be
next word.
speaking nothing. Don't speak nothing. I'm good. I'm good.
Well, thank you so much for joining us again today, and we look forward to our session on next week. Everyone have a great rest of your day, prosperous day, and we look forward to spending time with you again on next week from Life Enhancement and Development
Absolutely.
Live. We want to say thank you. Have a prosperous day.
Bye.
Bye bye.